because we used to make some really good education ads. And then when it ended with Kaplan, so to find that movie, I went to their website. Not only do they have that movie, they have a couple of other movies. They put a real perspective on the students' time and our ability to deliver instruction to map against the way they learn. But when I use the video, the more I've seen it, I've changed my mind. Remember? I've changed my mind. It's their time, and they're going to do it their way. Remember, we've been there. We did it. We changed the way. It's our time. I am convinced that digital natives are there as a piece of cake. If they get into school, fine. If they don't, fine. They don't worry about it. They're going to get it on their own. But for us as educators to become digital educators, that's what's exciting to me in terms of presentation, in terms of working with state initiatives, in terms of working with district or university initiatives. It's our time. It's our time, and your leadership is putting the tools in your hand. And the ability to craft things is why I want to get to the DNA quickly. They do all of these things. You can too. You can too. Here's what they have to say about the university setting, quickly.
I went to college because I thought
digital native.
we're digital learners.
People are interested now, they're more than
99% of the teachers do it the old-fashioned way of
Sit down, listen to someone lecture for 40, 50 minutes.
Being in a study-based environment that's no classroom is presents a problem because
just lectures limit my learning.
That's me. Lectures limit my learning. And what am I doing today with you? Not just 50 minutes of regular class time. I got an hour. Okay? We started 5 minutes late, but I got an hour and a half. Right? Unless you walk out, then you can do that. Okay? Not a problem. I do remind you that Dad called me that if you start late, you leave early. So I owe you 5 minutes on the other end. Okay? Because we started 10 minutes. But it's interesting what they say about it. It's not a surprise. So if we could, let's go to the trends in higher education. Are you familiar with EDUCAUSE?
yes.
You've been, right? You have people that present there all the time. You are familiar with the Horizon report that comes out every year at EDUCAUSE. The Horizon report for 2009 is done by the two groups, EDUCAUSE Learning Initiative, ELI, and the New Media Consortium. They are charged with each year coming up with a report of 6, not necessarily trends, but six practices that are the trend setters in terms of applications that are changing the opportunity of learning in the years to come. And it's usually 1 to 5 years. 1 to 5 years. If you haven't gone to, just do a Google search on Horizon's report. You can get 2008, 2007. I think this is the 6th year they've done it. I could be wrong. But 2009, I'd like to do a quick just capsule of what they've done in terms of the 6 applications or practices they highlight. In 2009, mobiles and cloud computing. They will say mobility is here. University of Texas San Antonio is doing something to verify that, right? You know, right up the road is Alwyn Christian up the road. There's their ACU mobility site. It's all across the country, places that are doing it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. You are familiar with what cloud computing is about, right? This is an article from last year's Business Week. This is last month. Okay? The ability to have the data farms, the ability to be connected to wherever you are. Again, part of the cloud computing is allowed the netbooks to come in at different point in terms of disrupting flights. The next 2 items that he mentions are geo-everything and personal web. You got any idea what geo-everything is? Well, my best explanation for you is to show you this paint map. I don't know if you're familiar with paint map. but it's the ability to have geo-specific data. Geo-specific data that has tags that can be used with other things. Paint Map allows you to use Google Maps and paintings that were done about pictures in those areas. Just like Google Album. You ever use Google Album? It's a mashup. Google Album is Google Earth, okay, with Flickr. You know what Flickr is. So it allows you to go to a location and see pictures that have been tagged. Okay? It's the applications that are allowed to do that. With Personal Web, the ability to even take widgets. You know what a widget is? To create a widget that allows you to look at stuff that, oh, you know what my pictures are? My account is? My bank? My UTSA online? It's the ability to customize personal web things. It's like your blog, but even bigger. It's the ability to bring it all in. And oh, by the way, to create mobile apps so that you can do it on phone or wireless. In other words, the iPod Touch is not a phone. It's the same thing as this, except it does not have the, what, $70 a month? Okay? But guess what?
It's the same thing as the phone.
I'm sorry? Guess what?
It's the same thing as the phone, it just...
Except I don't have on the iPod Touch, I don't have to pay a phone service.
Right.
Okay? It's everything except the phone and one other thing. Camera that does pictures and video. There was an iPod announcement today and everybody was expecting a camera on this. Didn't happen, did it? Didn't come on this. Came on something smaller. Came on the Nano. There is a camera on a Nano that does stills and video. Go figure. Okay? Haven't even seen it. Drew can't wait to get out here and go to the store across the road. Okay? But the difference here with the iPod Touch, you with me? It's not a phone. Anybody know what Skype is? There's a mobile app for Skype that goes on here. So what does it make this? Yep, right. That's how Josh, who doesn't have a phone, talks to Andy in China through Skype on here, free with the mobile app. Okay? So the ability to do personal things that you bring in with what's happening to all this stuff is, to me, just unbelievable. And according to Horizon, it's only going to continue. Did I go backwards? Yes. The last two items that he mentioned give me headaches. Okay? Because I can talk about them and I sort of got a handle on them. But getting there is just, it's almost like you really got to close your eyes and pray. It's about semantic aware. Semantic aware. Okay? The ability to have less tagging because of the context of something you're doing. It knows what you're doing and what you need. You with me on this? AI. You know what AI is? Huh? Artificial intelligence. The ability to have technology that's smart enough in the context of things can remember and with less tagging tell where you are and make it happen. It's what they talk about in this area. Semantic awareness. You're familiar with Flickr, Facebook, Delicious, Twitter. You're familiar with that. But the ability to move above that, to have a connection between all machines, not just computers and MP3 players or whatever has you. Because that takes you to the smart objects. We've already talked about a disruptive technology called a smartphone. Anybody know who Kevin Kelley is? He's not related to me. He spells his name wrong. Doesn't have a second E. The editor of Wired Magazine. There is a TED Talk where he talks about the Internet of Things, these smart objects that are coming in the future, the smart objects that know where they are, what they're doing, in connection, the ability not only to have a smartphone, but a smart car. Okay? You know, pick an object for what it is, but it has an intelligence about it that will allow it to communicate to other things. Okay? Not just the phone, not just the computer. Through the cloud computing, it's the ability to have all of that. And according to New Horizon reports, that's 2013. Okay? Less than 4 years out. According to Christensen, the tipping point for universities, 2014. Okay? So, that's all the background. That's just familiar stuff. Let me quickly blow through this sequence of learning, this new DNA that I want to talk to you that we've learned from our partners. And I would say, part of the disclaimer, remember, I'm an educator, I work for Apple. I'm selling the vision. I would say, ask anybody you're talking to about technology to talk to you about delivering a part of all components. Because it's not just one better than the other. No matter how good the technology is, you don't know how to use it. It ain't going to work. Okay? No matter how good the professional development and technology, if the infrastructure doesn't support the connectivity, it's not going to work. It all plays into this bigger picture. It's a strategic plan, and I did look at your long-term strategic plan, which was on your website last night. And that's a living document that's changing all the time. I would encourage you to take a leadership role if you can, impact it any way you can. But here's the visual that makes it, I think, a little bit easier than that, because you can plug into the circling where you want to. A lot of people start with creativity. But the higher order is a collaboration. And that's what we're after. So on the collaboration side, wikis, blogs, chat. You know what these are, right? Blogs, and you have wikis. Okay, it's an interactive web page. Okay, Web 2.0, it's all that about that. Chat, you could be using Skype, you could be using iChat, you could be using a lot of different other chat things, but the ability to collaborate is there, it's been there. This is Web 2.0. Interesting piece of information that I got from an online conference that we did back in April 14th, University of Houston down the road. One of the presenters had some research that she had done with her students about how they use technology in a day. And it's interesting how many times they check email a day. University of Houston, college students check email once a day. How do they get most of their email? Facebook, a lot more they check it. You know what they say about Twitter? When you ask them about Twitter, yeah, they smile. It's an adult application. Excuse me, it's a yuppie adult. It's the rich. Like somebody wants to know what I'm doing. Oh, but on Facebook, can I not post on the wall what I'm doing constantly? Okay? Interesting information from students about how they, it'd be interesting to do the survey of your students, how they email. I live on email. Okay? Business requires you to do that. Most of the kids do it very little. As a matter of fact, they do it to stay connected to adults, jobs, those kind of things that's required. It's interesting how you look at all of it in terms of Flickr, what they're doing in publishing. It's interesting. You do not have an iTunes U site, and I sure wish you did. I'm going to talk about it depending on the distribution. But most of the videos that I saw last night on the University of Texas San Antonio were posted on YouTube. Some of them are really good. Some of them you should be embarrassed. But that's not true, please. But there was one recruiting video that is not recruiting the kind of students you really want. But it's interesting. Very interesting. Here's what they're doing. So much so that spring a year ago, Penn State started delivering courses on Facebook. You know why?